On the day of a birthday celebration, Sarah Stevens and Jessica tricked me into drinking something drugged, then locked me in the basement and tortured me. It was also Alex Cooper, the man some actress never forgot, who could return to the Stevens family and take my place. After I was tortured to death, my eyes refused to close. When I found myself back in my room, I realized I'd been reborn. It happened on the very day Alex Cooper returned to be claimed by the family, and it was time to make them understand the truth. If I could bring the Stevens family back from the brink in just 3 years, my methods were far from ordinary. I had watched, eyes wide open, as my own sister, Sarah Stevens, sliced flesh from my chest, piece by piece. My tongue had been cut out, silencing my screams, and with my limbs gone, I was powerless to resist. I died in agony and hatred, utterly desperate, yet my eyes refused to shut even in death. Finding myself back in my room again, I instinctively checked my limbs and felt relieved to see they were whole. I had been reborn, sent back 1 year to the day Alex Cooper first walked through our front door. But the searing, bone-deep agony from my past life was impossible to forget no matter how hard I tried. I clutched my head, trying desperately to banish the horrific memories lingering in my mind. Someone pushed the door open suddenly and rushed over to my bedside with gentle concern in their voice. "Ethan, I told you not to drink so much last night. Your head must be pounding. Let me get you something for that hangover." Her voice, though laced with urgency and care, sent an icy chill straight through my entire body. The familiar face before me made the hairs on my arms stand on end with pure terror and hatred. It was Sarah Stevens, my own sister who had shared hardship with me in our darkest days as a family. She was the very person who had sliced my flesh away, piece by painful piece. During my brutal death, she left for a moment and soon returned with a warm bowl of soup specially made to cure a hangover. "Here, Ethan, let your big sister feed you," she said softly with a fake loving smile on her face. "That won't be necessary," I cut her off coldly, waving away the bowl she held out toward me. I called for the housekeeper immediately and ordered her to bring me a set of clean clothes at once. After changing into one of my usual custom-tailored suits, I stared at my reflection in the full-length mirror. My eyes were cold and completely devoid of any warmth, kindness, or lingering affection for anyone here. Uncle William, the loyal family butler, stepped forward to deliver an important message in a calm tone. "Alex Cooper is here to see you," he announced formally, waiting patiently for my response. Alex Cooper was the imposter, the boy who took my place in the family after I went missing as a child. As he grew older, his lack of resemblance to our parents became obvious, so they searched endlessly until they found me. Our parents had grown deeply attached to Alex over the years and could not bring themselves to send him away cruelly. But the moment Alex discovered his wealthy birth family, he abandoned the Stevens household without a second thought. Worse still, he secretly engineered the complete bankruptcy of the once prosperous Stevens family business. The sudden financial ruin broke our parents' hearts completely, and both fell gravely ill and passed away soon after. I managed to rebuild the entire business empire from scratch with endless hard work and perseverance. I made the Summit Group far more successful and powerful than it had ever been in my parents' time. And now, this ungrateful traitor had the audacity to show up at my door again with a fake pitiful act. Alex Cooper was sitting awkwardly on the soft living room sofa, looking nervous and uneasy the whole time. He scrambled to his feet the instant I walked into the room, his tall frame trembling uncontrollably with fear. It was clear he was absolutely terrified of me and the power I held over everything related to the Stevens name. I sat down slowly and calmly directly opposite him, keeping my gaze sharp and unyielding the entire time. In my peripheral vision, I saw Sarah Stevens watching Alex Cooper with sympathy and obvious joy in her eyes. "Ethan," he began speaking tentatively, choosing every word carefully to play the weak and innocent role. "I've decided to come back home for good. The Cooper family never treated me well at all. I just want to stay here and be with my dear sister again, like old times," he continued in a soft, meek voice. The housekeeper standing nearby quickly chimed in to defend Alex, eager to push me into agreeing to keep him. "Chairman Alex grew up in this house after all, and he was always the late chairman's favorite child," she said. "Please have mercy and let him stay with the family once more, sir. The chairman is wealthy enough to easily support 10 Alex Coopers without any financial trouble at all," the housekeeper pressed. "Alex seems so sincere and remorseful. Please find it in your heart to let him stay, young master." Uncle William kept his eyes firmly fixed on me, waiting quietly and respectfully for my final decision on the matter. "Nice suit you're wearing today," I commented casually, looking Alex Cooper up and down with a cold, neutral tone. My voice was flat and emotionless, giving no hint of what I was truly thinking or planning to do next. Alex Cooper immediately dropped his gaze to the floor and started stammering nervously under my sharp scrutiny. Uncle William narrowed his eyes slightly, seemingly sensing that something about Alex's story was not right at all. These clothes were from a huge international luxury brand, something even our wealthy family rarely owned or wore. In my naive past life, I had never recognized those high-end brands and thought they were just ordinary cheap clothes. I was completely fooled by Alex's poor and helpless disguise back then, falling for every single one of his lies. Uncle William had advised me firmly not to take in an outsider with hidden motives years ago. But Sarah Stevens insisted that taking good care of Alex Cooper was our parents' final dying wish to me. Even Jessica Taylor rushed over as soon as she heard the news and told me keeping Alex was a great charitable act. I was put on such a high moral pedestal that I could no longer tell right from wrong or see everyone's true intentions. And just like that, foolishly, I let Alex Cooper move back into the Stevens family home without hesitation. Looking back now with my memories intact, I curse myself endlessly for being such a blind and stupid person before. But now I have been reborn with a second chance, and I will never let history repeat itself again. Not only do I hate that ungrateful bastard Alex Cooper, I will destroy every fake lie he has ever told. I stared at him coldly, exposing his expensive disguise with every sharp word I spoke out loud. Those clothes you're wearing are from a luxury brand 100 times more expensive than Louis Vuitton. If I'm not mistaken, your entire outfit from head to toe costs no less than $1 million in total, I said clearly. I never realized the Cooper family was so generous, kicking you out but still letting you wear such priceless designer clothes. They really must be extremely wealthy beyond imagination to spoil you like this, I added with obvious sarcasm. A quiet murmur spread through all the servants and staff standing around the living room listening closely. What? Just his clothes cost over $1 million total, one maid whispered in shock to another beside her. They must be incredibly rich beyond anything we could ever dream of in our entire lives. $1 million for an outfit alone? I wouldn't even dare imagine having that much money for anything, someone muttered. Who gets kicked out of their wealthy home and is still allowed to wear such ridiculously expensive clothes every day? Maybe they're just fake counterfeit clothes he bought to trick us all into feeling sorry for him, another guessed quietly. I always thought our chairman was rich, but does this mean the Cooper family has diamond-studded toilets in their mansions? Alex Cooper looked at me with obvious guilt written all over his face, trying to hide his panic and embarrassment. He had been staring down at his shoes, but when he finally looked up again, his eyes were red with fake tears. Ethan, what are you talking about? I don't understand any of this at all, he lied poorly with a trembling voice. These are just simple ordinary clothes I bought cheaply at a regular shopping mall downtown. They couldn't be plainer or cheaper, even if I tried to find simpler clothes, he insisted desperately. Maybe they just look like expensive designer pieces to trick people who don't know fashion very well. I really had nowhere else to turn this time, no family or friends left to help me at all, he begged pitifully. Don't worry, I'm not here to fight you for control of the Summit Group or steal your position as chairman. I just need a small place to stay nearby, to be close to Mom and Dad's old home and memories, he continued begging. I refused to listen to any more of his fake lies and simply turned my face away in clear disgust. Alex Cooper saw the obvious revulsion on my face and acted even more pitiful and wrong to gain sympathy. His tall frame seemed to shrink smaller as he lowered his head, pretending to be utterly heartbroken and helpless. Uncle William, did he come here all alone with no car or money to his name? I asked the butler sharply. Yes, he said he came alone and walked the whole way here on foot, Alex cut in before Uncle William could answer. My feet are covered in painful blisters from walking such a long distance in the hot sun all day, he lied quickly. The reason Uncle William had not answered right away was that he was stuck in an awkward and difficult position. Before my rebirth, out of deep guilt toward my late parents, I had always kept in close contact with Alex. Sarah Stevens and Jessica Taylor constantly reminded me how much Mom and Dad had secretly cared for Alex Cooper deeply. I had tolerated his presence and kept in touch with him all those years purely for my parents' sake alone. Tell me the truth, Uncle William, I ordered firmly, cutting through Alex's endless stream of fake excuses. I just pulled all the security footage from near the Hamptons estate going back 3 full months, I revealed coldly. Every single time Alex Cooper left the Hamptons estate, he got straight into a fancy Rolls-Royce luxury car. Or at the very least, a rare Pagani Huayra supercar to drive around the most high-end places in the city, I added. He visited luxury bars every night where the average table bill is easily 6 figures for just a few drinks. Just earlier today, a limited edition Lamborghini Veneno dropped him off right near the Hamptons estate gates, I exposed. As for the older footage before today, It was all deliberately overwritten because everyone blindly believed Alex would never lie. The staff trusted his fake poor act so much that they erased all evidence of his wealthy lifestyle without question, I said. The murmuring and whispers from the crowd grew louder and more shocked with every truth I revealed out loud. They had never expected the Cooper family to be that rich, letting their kicked-out heir ride around in rare limited edition supercars. It was painfully obvious to everyone now that Alex Cooper was lying through his teeth with every word he spoke to us. I wore a faint knowing smile, which Uncle William misinterpreted as simple indifference to the whole situation. He sighed loudly with clear disappointment in Alex and sympathy for how foolish I had been in my past life. The next second, I spoke with a calm tone that hit everyone in the room like a sudden clap of thunder. Uncle William, arrange and call an immediate press conference right this minute, I instructed sharply. We will publicly accuse the Cooper family of cruelly kicking poor Alex Cooper out of their wealthy home, I said coldly. We will demand full justice and compensation for Alex Cooper in front of all the media and the public. My calm words shocked every single person standing in the living room, completely speechless and frozen in place. Alex Cooper's mouth hung wide open in pure horror. This was the first time I had ever directly refused his pleas. Uncle William also stared at me blankly for a moment before his eyes lit up with obvious admiration and respect. As a proper loyal butler, Uncle William only ever followed my late father's orders without personal feelings getting in the way. He only saw clear instructions to carry out, not emotional attachments or fake sympathy for liars and traitors. Perhaps I had disappointed him greatly with my naive kindness toward Alex in my past life, hence his overjoyed reaction now. Quickly recovering from his total shock, Alex Cooper dropped heavily to his knees on the floor with a loud thud. He began begging desperately and shamelessly for me to let him stay in the Stevens family home once again. "Brother Ethan, please have mercy and let me stay here," he cried loudly with fake tears streaming down his face. "I really have absolutely nowhere else to go in this entire world, no family or anyone left to care about me. You're such a kind, wealthy, generous person, so why can't you just let poor me stay for a little while longer?" he begged. "I used to live happily in this house with all of you too, many years ago before everything fell apart. Brother Ethan, I'm begging you on my knees, just give me a few more days to find another place to live," he pleaded nonstop. "As soon as I find a new home, I will leave quietly and never bother you or the Stevens family ever again." "Who exactly are you calling your brother?" I snapped at him sharply, putting an immediate end to his fake familiar act. "My last name is Stevens, and your last name is Cooper. We have no blood relation or family bond at all. How could I possibly be your brother in any way? Watch every word you speak carefully from now on," I warned fiercely. "Jack Johnson, drag this lying stranger out of here right now before he causes more trouble for our family." The head security guard Jack Johnson rushed into the living room immediately with his team of strong bodyguards. He walked forward with more power and authority than the trembling Alex Cooper and grabbed him firmly by the collar. The tall Alex Cooper looked completely helpless and weak in front of the experienced security team. He allowed himself to be dragged roughly toward the door like a worthless dead dog with no dignity left at all. Just as they were about to leave the living room with Alex, Sarah Stevens hurried forward to stop them angrily. She kicked Jack Johnson hard and threw her arms around Alex Cooper protectively, crying fake tears of distress. Turning to glare furiously at me, she shouted accusations with hatred and anger in every word she spoke. "Ethan, how could you act so heartlessly toward Alex after everything our parents said before they passed away? Didn't Mom and Dad clearly ask you to take the very best care of Alex Cooper for the rest of your life?" she screamed. "You always talk proudly about being a devoted filial son, yet you ignore our parents' final wishes like this? You are truly cold-blooded and completely without any kindness or mercy in your heart at all," she accused bitterly. Hearing all her unfair accusations against me, I felt no anger or frustration whatsoever inside my heart. I let out a humorless cold laugh and spoke directly to my fake sister Sarah with unwavering confidence. "Listening to you talk like this, sister, one would truly think you and Alex are real blood siblings. If that's the case, then where exactly do I stand in this so-called family of yours?" I asked sharply. "Since you two are so close and loyal to each other, why don't you leave the Stevens family with him too?" Sarah Stevens looked utterly shocked and stunned, unable to believe what she had just heard me say out loud. She thought she must have misheard my words and questioned me with pure disbelief written all over her face. "How could you ever say something so cruel as throwing me out of the Stevens family home?" she shouted angrily. "Ethan Stevens, what ridiculous nonsense are you talking to me with such disrespect right now? You have no manners at all and no respect for your elder sister like you should," she scolded fiercely. I said clearly, "Get out of the Stevens family home right now. Didn't you understand my words the first time?" Or do I need to hold a special public press conference just to announce your expulsion to everyone? I threatened coldly. Also, I am the official chairman of the Summit Group and the head of the entire Stevens family now. Who exactly here doesn't understand proper seniority and family rules? Do you even have the right to call me by my first name? Sarah Stevens stared at me with total incredulity, slowly realizing I was not joking or speaking casually at all. Her confused eyes instantly turned dark and sinister, filled with burning hatred strong enough to want to tear me apart. But I paid absolutely no attention to her angry glare and turned my gaze toward Uncle William calmly instead. There are many ugly secrets I haven't mentioned yet out of basic respect for certain people here today, I said firmly. If you don't want to lose all your dignity and face completely, then leave quietly without making more trouble. A heavy silence fell over the entire room, broken only by Sarah Stevens grinding her teeth in pure rage. Alex Cooper kept mumbling quiet, desperate pleas for mercy that no one paid any attention to anymore. All the maids who had been gossiping loudly earlier now kept their mouths tightly shut in total fear. They were even afraid to breathe too loudly, terrified I would decide to throw them out of the Stevens family too. After all, in their eyes at that moment, I was a cold-blooded, ruthless man who would not even spare his own sister. Uncle William, throw both Sarah Stevens and Alex Cooper out of this house at once, I ordered finally and firmly. Don't let their dirty presence stain the clean floors of the Stevens family home any longer, I added sharply. Yes, sir, Uncle William replied respectfully without hesitation and raised his hand to signal the security team. Jack Johnson and his men stepped forward quickly once more to grab Alex Cooper and remove him forcefully. But the tall, cowardly man immediately hid behind the petite Sarah Stevens for protection from the guards. Sarah Stevens spread her arms wide to shield Alex Cooper and shouted fiercely at all the security staff. I'd like to see any of you dare lay a single hand on Alex Cooper here today in front of everyone. If you try to hurt him, you can forget about ever keeping your jobs working for the Stevens family ever again, she threatened. All the guards exchanged nervous glances with each other before finally turning to wait for my final order. I let out a mocking cold sneer and exposed the truth about Sarah in front of every single person listening closely. He's just a worthless outsider bastard, and you're not even a real respected lady of the Stevens family at all. Sarah Stevens exploded with uncontrollable anger at my cruel words and shouted back at me furiously. Ethan Stevens, what terrible nonsense are you spouting right now? How dare you call me illegitimate? Even if I haven't contributed much to the family business, I am still father's own daughter by birth, she screamed. Aren't you afraid Mom and Dad will turn in their graves hearing you insult me like this in front of everyone? Her face turned bright red with rage, and her whole body shook violently with pure hatred and frustration toward me. Watching her angry reaction, all the servants and staff exchanged uncertain, doubtful glances with each other quietly. Isn't the chairman going a little too far with his cruel words toward his own sister? One maid whispered quietly. I've watched Miss Sarah grow up since she was just a little child in this house all these years. If she were truly illegitimate, would the old chairman and Mrs. Stevens have doted on her so deeply all her life? How can a grown man speak such hurtful, insulting words about his own sister in public like this? Another staff member muttered. Hearing their doubtful whispers, Sarah Stevens grew even more confident and bold with her fake innocent act. She gritted her teeth fiercely and pointed an angry finger directly at my face in front of the entire crowd. Ethan Stevens, don't think I don't know exactly what your greedy scheme is right now, she accused loudly. You're spreading these terrible rumors just to steal the entire Stevens family inheritance all for yourself alone. Do you really think everyone standing here today is blind and cannot see through your selfish, greedy tricks? She shouted. I found her ridiculous accusations rather amusing and looked straight at the gossiping staff around us with a cold gaze. Aren't all of you clearly blind? I questioned them silently with my sharp, knowing eyes fixed on each one. You claim to have watched Sarah grow up her entire life, so how could you never notice her obvious lack of family resemblance? Thinking this to myself, I turned to stare directly at the elderly nanny who had claimed to raise Sarah from childhood. The nanny's eyes darted around nervously with obvious guilt before she quickly lowered her head to avoid my gaze. I sneered coldly at her obvious guilty reaction and exposed the truth to her face in front of everyone present. You say you watched Sarah grow up all these years. Didn't you ever notice she doesn't look like father or mother at all? The elderly nanny froze completely for a moment before she slowly turned to stare carefully at Sarah Stevens. She scrutinized Sarah's appearance from head to toe with a confused, shocked expression on her old face. Then she murmured quietly without thinking, Huh? How come I never noticed this strange detail before now? Miss Sarah really doesn't look much like the old chairman and Mrs. Stevens at all in any way. As soon as she finished speaking, all the other maids and servants immediately joined in with their own observations. Yes, she really doesn't resemble them in facial features, height, or skin tone at all, one maid agreed quickly. Her eyes look narrow, and the bridge of her nose isn't high like both the chairman and his wife's elegant noses, another noted. Her skin isn't as fair as theirs, and she's not tall like either of our late masters at all. She never inherited Mrs. Stevens' beautiful delicate features or the chairman's tall strong stature in any way, they whispered. They talked quietly among themselves, pointing at Sarah as if observing a strange animal locked in a zoo cage. Sarah Stevens' face turned bright crimson with shame and rage at all their cruel whispers and staring eyes. She pointed furiously at me and shouted angrily, trying to deny everything and defend her fake identity. Ethan Stevens, what terrible hidden meaning are you trying to imply with all these cruel words? She screamed. If you're trying to say I'm not Mom and Dad's real child, you'd better have solid proof to back up your lies. Don't think you can just use your powerful position to intimidate a few maids and force me out of my family home, she warned. I nodded slightly with a calm, knowing smile on my face, ready to reveal all the undeniable evidence at last. You're absolutely right. I'm not the kind of lowlife who spreads cruel slander and lies about others without proof, I said clearly. The official paternity test reports for Mom, Dad, and myself are all right here in my hands to show everyone. You are more than welcome to take these documents and compare your own DNA with ours to learn the full truth, I offered coldly. Sarah Stevens remained stubborn and defiant to the very end, refusing to back down or admit any truth at all. Fine then, let's do the DNA test right now. Who exactly is afraid of finding out the truth? She shouted bravely. That won't be necessary to waste everyone's time, Uncle William suddenly spoke up after staying silent for a long while. He stared directly at the pale, terrified Sarah Stevens with a cold, serious expression on his face. I will simply tell everyone the full, honest truth about your real origins right here and now, he announced firmly. Sarah Stevens is indeed not the biological child of the late Chairman and Mrs. Stevens at all, Uncle William revealed openly. She was born to a former nanny who once worked secretly in this household many years ago. The entire crowd gasped loudly in pure shock and surprise at this huge, long-hidden family secret finally coming out. Uncle William immediately became stern to correct their wrong misunderstandings before more rumors spread wildly. It is not what all of you are wrongly thinking right now. Please let me finish explaining the whole story clearly, he said. He cleared his throat gently and continued revealing the full truth about Sarah's complicated origins calmly. That old nanny was always extremely ambitious and secretly tried to seduce the chairman behind his wife's back, he explained. One day while Mrs. Stevens was away visiting her family, a close old army friend of the chairman visited the mansion. The careless nanny accidentally walked into the wrong guest room that night and never realized her huge mistake at the time. Later, when she was almost 8 months pregnant, she brought the matter forward and nearly destroyed the entire family. She almost caused the chairman and Mrs. Stevens to get a terrible divorce over this huge unexpected scandal, he told everyone. It wasn't until after the baby was born and a full paternity test was done that the whole embarrassing truth came out. The ashamed nanny felt deep guilt for her mistake and secretly abandoned the baby before running away forever, he revealed. The chairman's old army friend already had his own family back then and dared not admit the child as his own. Therefore, out of kindness and sympathy, the chairman and Mrs. Stevens chose to raise Sarah as their own daughter, he finished explaining. Uncle William looked directly at the pale, trembling Sarah Stevens and asked her if she finally understood the whole truth. Sarah Stevens swayed unsteadily on her feet for a moment before collapsing heavily onto the cold floor in total shock. It took her a very long time to recover from the devastating news before she finally staggered away in shame and despair. Meanwhile, Alex Cooper was roughly thrown out of the entire Stevens family yard by the strong security guards without mercy. Watching their defeated, dejected figures disappear into the distance, a relieved, genuine smile finally spread across my face. In truth, I had always known deep in my heart that Sarah Stevens was never my real biological sister at all. Before my father passed away, he called me to his bedside privately and told me every single detail of the secret truth. He begged me sincerely to always treat Sarah with kindness and care no matter what happened in the future. My late parents had always protected Sarah carefully all her life, hiding her real origins from her to spare her pain. Uncle William had also kept this huge family secret loyally for decades without ever telling a single soul. So even though we were not blood relatives, we had once been closer than most real brothers and sisters in many ways. But I never imagined that Sarah Stevens, knowing the full truth about our relationship, would still try to brutally kill me. After everything she did to me in my past life, I finally understood I no longer needed to show her any kindness or mercy. That same afternoon, while I was enjoying the premium Kobe beef and fine-aged wine Uncle William had specially prepared for me, Jessica Taylor arrived at the mansion uninvited, walking in with her usual arrogant, entitled attitude toward everyone. As soon as she entered the room, I heard her annoying shrill voice criticizing me without any politeness or respect at all. "Ethan Stevens, what ridiculous dramatic scene are you causing in your own family now?" she asked rudely. She swayed her curvy figure over toward my dining table, and her strong, overwhelming perfume ruined the delicious meal instantly. The thick, sweet fragrance drowned out the rich aroma of the fine food, making every bite taste bland and disgusting to me. I couldn't help but let out a cold, mocking sneer at her obvious fake concern for Alex Cooper and Sarah Stevens. If she had truly cared about her so-called childhood sweetheart Alex, she would have shown up much earlier to help him. Seeing me stay completely silent and unresponsive to her rude words, Jessica Taylor sat down casually right beside me. She took the hot, clean towel offered by a maid to wipe her hands and ordered someone to bring her an empty wine glass. Her long, slender, pale fingers looked striking with the sparkling, expensive diamonds embedded carefully in her manicured nails. I had once been foolishly deeply captivated by her beautiful appearance and charming fake personality in my naive past life. I used to genuinely think I was attracted to elegant, graceful women just like her in every single way. Only after my painful rebirth did I finally realize I only saw perfection in her because I had loved her blindly. But now that my love for her was completely gone, every single thing about her disgusted me deeply to my core. From this day forward, I would never again be her pathetic, devoted admirer who gave her everything she ever wanted. I had finally woken up from my foolish, blind infatuation with her fake beauty and charm forever. She picked up the crystal wine decanter to pour herself a glass first before trying to refill my glass as well. With a cold, firm expression, I moved my wine glass far away, clearly rejecting her fake, gentle gesture completely. Jessica Taylor froze in place with the decanter still hovering midair, stunned and confused by my sudden cold attitude. "Still upset and angry with me? You're so impossible to please all the time," she complained in a spoiled tone. "Are you here today just to beg for Alex Cooper's forgiveness and ask me to let him come back home?" I asked sharply. Jessica Taylor's red lips parted slightly as she took a slow, fancy sip of the expensive red wine in her glass. She closed her eyes dramatically to pretend to appreciate the wine with fake professional tasting skills and phrases. "Such a smooth texture, a rich, deep bouquet. The wonderful aroma fills the palate and permeates the mouth and nose," she lied poorly. Her clumsy, obvious attempt to use fancy wine-tasting jargon almost made me laugh out loud at her ignorance and pretense. No one would ever guess that Jessica Taylor, the famous glamorous big-screen actress, was just a shallow fake socialite. If I had never taken a special interest in her and supported her, she would never have become famous at all. I built her up from a small, unknown internet personality into a huge top-tier celebrity and major influencer overnight. I personally helped her get every important resource, every big role, and every valuable sponsorship deal she ever had. Alex Cooper basically grew up in this very Stevens family home from when he was just a little child. She began defending him again. Even though he wasn't Mr. Stevens' biological son, he was raised here with our family for many long years. He and I grew up side by side together, and his personal character has always been absolutely perfect and impeccable, she insisted. "You have to trust my judgment about Alex and find kindness in your heart to forgive him for everything," she demanded arrogantly. "I even heard that the late Mr. Stevens wanted to see Alex Cooper one final time before he eventually passed away," she said boldly. "How could you be so extremely heartless and cruel to ignore our late parents' wishes like this?" she scolded me fiercely. Listening to her endless one-sided rambling and unfair accusations, I sneered coldly deep inside my heart. If I hadn't experienced all the terrible betrayals and pain of my past life, I would never have seen her true hidden feelings. I never would have guessed the beautiful famous woman in front of me had always been secretly in love with Alex Cooper all along. But her love for him was useless and hopeless back when Alex was still the wealthy favored heir of the Stevens family. He was far too high above her social status for her to ever have a chance with him in those days. Only after Alex left for the Cooper family and abandoned us did she finally settle for loving me instead. Now that Alex had been kicked out of the wealthy Cooper family once again, she was willing to do anything cruel to win him back. She would even humiliate and betray me openly, all for the sake of chasing that one unattainable man she had always wanted. "Is that truly how you feel about everything?" I asked calmly with a pleasant neutral expression on my face. "Then perhaps I should simply hand over my position as chairman of Summit Group directly to Alex Cooper right now. Would that generous gesture finally be enough to satisfy all your endless demands and wishes?" I questioned coldly. My expression stayed calm and gentle on the surface, but my eyes were filled with icy cold hatred and disgust toward her. Yet Jessica Taylor remained completely oblivious to my hidden anger and the huge change in my attitude toward her. She still foolishly assumed I was still madly deeply in love with her and would obey every single one of her orders. Because of this blind confidence, she became even more arrogant, bold, and demanding with every word she spoke to me. "Oh, there's no real need for you to give him your chairman position directly," she said dismissively with a wave of her hand. "You just need to go to the hotel right now and bring Alex Cooper back home personally with a sincere apology," she ordered rudely. "Book the most luxurious 5-star restaurant in the city to hold a grand welcome-back celebration party just for him. Then arrange an official public press conference to announce Alex Cooper as the new general manager of Summit Group," she demanded boldly. "I know you're just upset because Alex held your rightful position as heir for over 10 long years before you returned. I understand all your frustration and jealousy deep down, but you simply need to get over it and move on," she said condescendingly. "Why do you have to make things awkward and difficult for absolutely everyone involved in this whole situation?" she asked rudely. I stayed completely silent the entire time, just watching her arrogant, entitled attitude with the same calm, knowing smile. She kept talking endlessly, making more and more unreasonable demands without any shame or gratitude toward me at all. "I know I've been extremely busy with my celebrity schedule lately and haven't had much time to spend with you," she said casually. "But you shouldn't get upset or sulk about it like a childish boy. It's just how life works for famous female celebrities. You need to learn to be more understanding and stop acting so moody all the time. It's not attractive at all," she scolded me. "And honestly, I really don't like it when you act so petty and jealous over small meaningless things like this. Oh, and there's one more thing you need to know," she added casually without a single thought for my feelings. "The media might push me to fake a romantic couple relationship with other famous male stars for publicity soon. Don't take any of it to heart or get angry with me. It's all just fake acting for show and career promotion only," she explained coldly. "Even though I've never publicly announced I have a boyfriend, you should always know you're the one I supposedly care about most." The extremely condescending, arrogant way she looked down on me made even Uncle William and Jack Johnson frown with disapproval nearby. But they dared not say a single word out loud, assuming I was still blindly infatuated and would tolerate all her insults. They thought I would just laugh off every humiliating, rude comment she threw at me with my endless love for her. But now, after my rebirth and all the pain I had endured, I couldn't hold back my mocking laughter any longer. I laughed loudly until my shoulders shook with amusement and my face started to ache from smiling so much at her stupidity. Jessica Taylor looked utterly confused and bewildered by my sudden laughter, unable to understand what was so funny. "Ethan, what exactly are you laughing at right now? What could possibly be so hilarious in this serious moment?" she asked angrily. I quickly waved my hand to calm my laughter before speaking the cruel truth directly to her arrogant face. No, it's just absolutely hilarious how ridiculously out of your mind you truly are right now," I told her coldly. "Who exactly gave you the arrogant right to stand here openly lecture me and order me around like this? You eat my expensive food, drink my rare fine wine, and live a luxurious life entirely funded by my money," I exposed sharply. "Every single thing you own and wear, even down to your private underwear, was bought with my hard-earned wealth. And yet you still have the shameless audacity to point fingers at me and make endless unreasonable demands," I shouted fiercely. Hearing my harsh, truthful words, Jessica Taylor froze, completely speechless for a very long, awkward moment in pure shock. I stood up slowly from my seat and grabbed her surgically enhanced chin firmly with my cold hand. "Since my money paid for every single part of your fake perfect image in life, that means I fully own you," I said clearly. "You are nothing more than a material object I bought, and you should know your proper place and obey me silently," I warned her. "Maybe if I'm in a generous good mood someday, I'll buy you a few more fancy pairs of expensive underwear to wear. But how dare you ever openly order me around and tell me what to do in my own family and business?" I questioned fiercely. "Every decision I make is none of your damn business, and you have no right to interfere in my life at all. Did you foolishly start believing you're actually some huge, untouchable, famous star with real power and status?" I mocked her. "Use that empty brain of yours for once and think carefully about how you ever got your big celebrity fame in the first place." At my ruthless, truthful words, Jessica Taylor's face instantly turned deathly pale with pure panic and fear. Her perfectly crafted, beautiful facial features twisted horribly with anxiety as she finally realized her true position. That's right, she had completely forgotten every single thing I had done to build her entire fake celebrity career from nothing. She forgot who created her public image as a talented, well-trained actress from a wealthy, humble background. She forgot who flooded the entire internet with positive press releases to hype up her fake acting talent and star potential. She forgot who hired endless online trolls to delete all her terrible scandal comments and protect her public reputation. Somehow, she had foolishly credited all her success and fame to her own so-called hard work and natural talent alone. I let out a cold mocking sound at her ignorance before turning to walk away from her arrogant presence forever. Jessica Taylor scrambled forward desperately to block my path and beg for my forgiveness in a panic. "Ethan, I'm sorry. I was completely wrong about everything I said just now," she cried pitifully. She was so used to being put on a high pedestal and worshipped that she had forgotten how to act humble and apologetic. It was funny how she never acted this desperate and weak with all those famous male celebrities she constantly chased after. A loud, sharp slap echoed loudly through the room, followed by Jessica Taylor's terrified, high-pitched scream of pain. She stumbled awkwardly in her tall heels, lost her balance completely, and fell flat onto her back on the hard floor. All her elegant celebrity poise and perfect composure vanished in an instant, leaving her looking messy and helpless. "Ethan, you actually dared to hit me?" she whispered in total disbelief, clutching her sore red cheek tightly. I looked down coldly at the pathetic, disgraced woman crumpled helplessly at my feet without a single ounce of sympathy. "Get out of the Stevens family mansion right now and never come back here again," I ordered her firmly and finally. "From this moment forward, every single one of your personal affairs is no longer any of my concern at all," I told her clearly. The second my words left my mouth, Jessica Taylor scrambled quickly up from the floor and grabbed my arm tightly. "Ethan, please don't stay angry with me anymore. I promise I was totally wrong about everything," she begged desperately. "I shouldn't have spoken to you so rudely and arrogantly just now. It was all my terrible fault alone. Please find it in your heart to forgive me one more time, okay?" she cried with fake tears streaming down her face. I frowned deeply, watching her diamond-studded fake nails dig sharply into my arm and leave painful marks on my skin. "Jack Johnson, follow my orders immediately," I called out coldly to my head security guard standing nearby. "Her nails are far too long and sharp. Rip them all out for her so she can never scratch anyone ever again in the future." I stated my cruel order flatly with absolutely no emotion or mercy left in my voice toward her at all. "Yes, sir." Jack Johnson nodded firmly and signaled to all his bodyguards to move forward and carry out my command. They swarmed around Jessica Taylor instantly as she screamed wildly in pure terror and pain, begging them to stop. "Don't pull my nails out. They're real natural nails, not cheap fake ones," she shrieked loudly in agony. The security guards ignored all her desperate screams and pleas, carrying out my strict order precisely without hesitation. Amid her heartbreaking, terrifying cries of pain, Jessica Taylor lay helplessly on the cold floor with her hands bleeding heavily. Her face turned chalk white from extreme pain and fear, and her eyes were filled with weak, desperate hopelessness. She looked utterly pathetic and miserable, completely stripped of all her fake celebrity glamour and arrogant pride. The terrible pain twisted her beautiful facial features horribly as she sobbed uncontrollably on the floor. "Ethan, why are you doing all these cruel, terrible things to me?" she cried out in pure agony and confusion. "What exactly did I ever do wrong to deserve such harsh punishment from you?" she begged pitifully with broken tears. "I was only ever trying to offer you some simple, helpful advice. I did everything just for your own good," she lied weakly. Tears streamed endlessly down her once perfect, beautiful face, making her look incredibly pitiful and vulnerable to anyone else. I walked slowly forward and pressed my foot firmly down directly onto her disgraced face without a single ounce of mercy. The thrilling rush of sweet revenge surged powerfully through my entire body, feeling extremely satisfying at last. But it was still nowhere near enough to make up for all the endless pain and suffering I had endured in my past life. Compared to how brutally they tortured and killed me before, this small punishment was far too gentle and easy for them. "Jessica Taylor, oh, Jessica Taylor," I spoke mockingly down to her helpless, trembling body on the floor. "No, perhaps I should just call you by your real shameful character instead of your fake celebrity stage name," I sneered. "Just moments ago, you were casually throwing around my full name, Ethan Stevens, with such arrogant disrespect. And now you're suddenly begging and crying for Ethan's forgiveness over and over again like a weak coward," I mocked her. "Your ability to quickly change your attitude and tone is even worse than your terrible fake acting skills on television. I spent an enormous fortune building up your entire celebrity career and reputation for you all these years," I told her coldly. "And yet you're still buried under endless terrible scandals that can never be fully erased or cleaned up forever. All those famous male celebrities in the entertainment industry keep their distance from you and refuse to work with you," I revealed. "There isn't a single decent man in the entire entertainment world who would ever want to be with someone like you. And since you're now a worthless, unwanted person no one else desires, I don't want you in my life either anymore," I said firmly. Jessica Taylor stared blankly up at me in total shock, unable to believe I would ever say such heartless, cruel words to her. "Ethan, you must be joking with me right now. You told me you loved me and would always love me forever," she cried weakly. I let out another cold, mocking sneer at her desperate, foolish pleas and broken memories of our past fake relationship. "It's true I once liked you, loved you blindly, and even adored you to the point of crazy obsession in my naive past life," I admitted. "But what exactly did all that endless love and devotion ever get me in return except betrayal, pain, and a terrible death? Letting you live with all your fame and wealth was already an act of extreme kindness and mercy from me," I told her sharply. "Throw her out of this mansion immediately, take a few clear photos of her current miserable state, and send them to all the paparazzi. Let them create whatever cruel, embarrassing headlines they want about her for the entire public to see," I ordered finally. "Yes, sir," Uncle William agreed instantly without hesitation, terrified I would change my mind and show mercy if he waited too long. He watched my retreating back with obvious relief and admiration shining clearly in his loyal eyes. He knew only a strong, ruthless leader like me could ever take the powerful Summit Group to even greater heights in the future. Sarah Stevens never came back to the family mansion all through that long, shameful night after she was expelled. Only I knew exactly where she had run off to hide with Alex Cooper in their moment of desperate defeat. So early the very next morning, I personally showed up at the small, cheap hotel where they were hiding together secretly. When the hotel manager first saw me walk into his lobby, his initial reaction was pure disbelief and nervous shock. After all, the Stevens family held enormous wealth, power, and influence across the entire city and business world. We would never normally even glance at such a tiny, insignificant low-class hotel with any attention at all. Even the smallest property I had ever entrusted Sarah Stevens to manage was over 10 times larger and more luxurious than this place. Before my late father passed away, he hadn't left a single piece of family property to this so-called eldest daughter of ours. I had only let her help manage some of my assets out of kindness and sympathy for our once close sibling bond. I never imagined she would betray me cruelly for an ungrateful outsider and forget all the hard times we survived together. Once the nervous hotel manager finally realized exactly who I was, he became extremely flustered and overly respectful toward me. He quickly ordered his entire hotel staff to rush over and line up to serve me with the highest level of politeness possible. A dozen beautiful young female staff members surrounded me warmly, greeting me respectfully by calling me Mr. Stevens repeatedly. Looking at all their fresh, youthful faces, I suddenly felt like such a complete foolish idiot for how I had lived my past life. For the sake of blind fake love, I had wasted all my time and energy foolishly chasing after the ungrateful Jessica Taylor endlessly. Meanwhile, she lied to the whole world about being single and uninterested in dating to build her independent, strong female image. Behind closed doors, she secretly chased after other famous male celebrities and ignored all my endless love and financial support. But now I had finally reclaimed my rightful dignified attitude as the powerful young master of the wealthy Stevens family. I was completely done being anyone's pathetic lovesick lapdog or devoted admirer for an ungrateful lying fake celebrity. "Which room is Alex Cooper hiding in right now with Sarah Stevens?" I asked the nervous hotel manager sharply and directly. The hotel manager frowned awkwardly and looked down hesitantly, too scared to give me a clear, honest answer out of fear. He simply decided to lead me silently down the hallway to the private room where the two traitors were hiding together. Standing outside their closed hotel room door, I could clearly hear Sarah Stevens speaking angrily inside to Alex Cooper. "I can't believe Ethan Stevens is so unbelievably heartless and cruel to kick me out of my own family home like this," she shouted. "I was always so kind and generous to him, and I gave so much of my time and effort to help our family all these years," she complained bitterly. "Don't worry at all, Alex Cooper. I have solid hard evidence proving Ethan Stevens is secretly connected to the criminal underworld," she threatened fiercely.